Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome to those of you watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can download our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1, followed by the word Spot Media. The entire media fraternity is in mourning this afternoon as veteran journalist Ian Boyne is dead. Mr. Boyne died this morning at the University Hospital of the West Indies in St. Andrew after being hospitalized in serious condition 2 weeks ago. TVJ's O'Shane Masters reports.
The definitive Usain Bolt interview. In this tell-all profile, Usain opens up on deeply personal matters. Welcome, I'm Ian Boyne.
Hailed as an astute member of journalism, Ian Boyne started his illustrious career in media in 1975. The man known to put issues to the forefront quickly rose to the helm of his craft. He joined the Agency for Public Information, API, now known as Jamaica Information Service, JIS, in 1976 as a feature writer and a television broadcaster. In 1983, he became the press secretary and speech writer to the then Minister of Industry and Commerce, Douglas Vaz, and from then to 2002, worked with every Minister of Industry under successive administrations as speechwriter, public relations consultant. He then rejoined the JIS in 2002. Mr. Boyne was appointed Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Jamaica Information Service, JIS, in 2010. He was also the host of Profile and Religious Hard Talk, aired on Television Jamaica, as well as a columnist for the Sunday Gleaner. He was also host of a Jamaica Information Service flagship interview program, Issues and Answers. Mr. Boyne was a minister of religion and the author of Ideas Matter, Journey into the Mind of a Veteran Journalist. Mr. Boyne was hospitalized earlier this month. Up to his passing, he was Deputy CEO of the Jamaica Information Service. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And our condolences go out to the family of Ian Boyne. The sentencing hearing for dancehall entertainer Ninja Man and his co-accused Jahil Ballantyne and Dennis Clayton is underway in the Home Circuit Court. The court is hearing from character witnesses. Ninja Man, whose given name is Desmond Ballantyne, has been described as a caring and loving person and a peacemaker. He and his co-accused are being sentenced for the 2009 murder of Ricardo Johnson on Mall Road in Kingston. They were convicted last month. A 16-year-old boy has been charged in connection with last month's fatal shooting of a man and his 2 sons in Clarendon. The teenager was charged on Friday after he was identified by eyewitnesses. Another suspect in that shooting was shot dead 2 weeks ago. The cops are still searching for 3 others in connection with the incident. 55-year-old shop owner Clifton Scott and his sons, 25-year-old Clifton Jr. and 20-year-old Orville, were shot dead in Ebony Park on November 12. Investigators reported that the 3 were at a shop they operated when gunmen opened fire on them before escaping. It's believed that robbery was the motive, as one of Mr. Scott's sons had just returned from overseas. And the country's murder toll continues to skyrocket. The latest data show that 1,562 people were murdered across the island up to yesterday. This is 270 more than the corresponding period last year. St. James has recorded the highest number of killings, 317, since January 1, followed by Clarendon, 166, St. Andrews South, 153, and Westmoreland, 141. The country is recording an average of 4 murders each day. In the meantime, the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce says it cannot be business as usual as it relates to tackling murders and other serious crimes in the country. President of the Chamber, Lawrence Watson, wants decisive action to bring the situation under control. He says it's time for the country to see the results of anti-crime strategies.
Well, I think the government needs to, and the Ministry of National Security need to put out the resources to be able to fight crime. I think with respect to Western Jamaica, the move to bring the previous Steve McGregor and the other persons that were stationed in Montego Bay all in to see what kind of plan they can come up to curb the upswing of crime in Western Jamaica is a very, very good move. But the government got to put resources and good thinking together, because if we don't get crime under control, we're going to be in serious trouble. I think it's going to really jeopardize the growth projections and the trajectory that Jamaica is on.
One woman is dead following a fire which destroyed a house in the community of Mexico in Arnett Gardens, St. Andrew yesterday evening. Dead is 65-year-old Sonia Daly of 214 Mexico Circle, Trenchtown, Kingston 12. The fire started about 5:50. However, the cause is still unknown. It's reported that residents alerted the police and the fire brigade after the house was seen on fire. TVJ News understands that 8 persons occupied the house, but the woman was alone when the fire started. The incident has left members of the community upset as they claim the Trenchtown Fire Station was unable to respond as it did not have a truck. They say it took a long time before firefighters from the York Park and Halfway Tree fire stations arrived. They are now making an urgent appeal for a fire truck to be immediately assigned to the Trenchtown station. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says the sector is growing at a rapid pace. Speaking at a media briefing in the St. Andrew recently, Mr. Bartlett said 10% of global GDP is driven by tourism.
$1 billion that I told you about. And that 1.2 billion people, move around international tourists, and it's going to become 1.8 billion by 2030.
He adds that the sector also provides 293 million jobs globally, and that figure is projected to increase to 380 million by 2020.
Tourism now exists. And I was minister first 8 years ago. I went to a meeting, we had 57. In 1 year, over 100 more countries have made ministers of tourism. No, not minister of tourism and something. Minister of Tourism.
The government says a data protection bill is being developed to quell concerns raised about the National Identification System NIDS program. Technology Minister Andrew Wheatley says the legislation will support and protect any data that is used by any government entity that has access to the data of any Jamaican. He adds that the bill will have measures in place to hold individuals accountable for misusing the data.
And that is why this piece of legislation that we are looking at will more or less be the linchpin in the rollout of a truly digital society. Because what we are ensuring is that we protect the rights, the privacy of our citizens here in Jamaica.
So Wheatley says he's hoping that with the development of the data protection bill, more Jamaicans will utilize technology.
We still have a number of persons who are very skeptical about going online to do online banking. Once you have completed this Data Protection Act, we will now have a piece of legislation in place that protects them. So whether it's you go online to do business with the bank, or you go online to do transaction with tax administration, or any government entity, there are certain basic rights that you are guaranteed.
Dr. Wheatley was speaking at the launch of the Technology Advancement Program, TAP, which was launched on Friday. And starting next January, 1,000 people will be employed and trained by the government through the Technology Advancement Program, TAP. Speaking at the launch, Technology Minister Dr. Andrew Wheatley said these persons will be employed and trained in the Information and Communication Technology, ICT, field for 1 year.
We'll be drawing persons from the unattached youth, that group of unattached youths, high school graduates, tertiary graduates, and just any any Jamaican that wants to be a part of the program.
Dr. Wheatley said the program will teach young people from across the island basic and advanced ICT skills. The training will enable these persons to get jobs in the industry after graduating. Graduates will be certified and would also have gained working experience, which will help them get employment.
After they have graduated from this program, they should be equipped to go out there and get their own jobs. And that is why I'm pleased with the partnership with the Caribbean Maritime University, that they will be dealing with the training component. Now, it's not about just training. You will be getting a certificate from the Caribbean Maritime University.
In news overseas, Turkey's president has voiced his hopes of one day opening a Turkish embassy in Jerusalem ahead of a possible UN vote on Monday, which seeks to nullify the U.S.'s decision to recognize the city as Israel's capital. The details from the CNN.
You see people's anger and frustration expressed in many different ways. Of course, these scenes, these types of clashes, they're fairly common here whenever these issues, this tension rises up to the forefront. And of course, that announcement by President Trump about the status of Jerusalem has literally, as many people here will tell you, just thrown not even gasoline on the fire, an entire oil tanker on the fire. People, to a certain degree, feel not only has the U.S. lost its position as being a potential honest broker in any sort of future peace talks, but also that perhaps President Trump deliberately wanted to try to inflame tensions in the region. When you speak to the Palestinians, the youth who are out here engaging in these types of clashes, they'll say, look, we don't have anything else to fight back with. We could go out and try and protest peacefully, but we can't. We're not allowed to do that. Even when we try to do that, it serves nothing. And this is the only thing that we have to fight back with, these rocks that they keep throwing at the Israeli security forces. They know that they're not going to win this battle. It's not necessarily about trying to win or gain ground. It's about trying to make that statement. And people really feel as if at this point they need to make a very strong statement. Of course, when you speak to members amongst the Palestinian leadership, they are to a certain degree wanting to see things grow and develop into widespread, as peaceful as they can possibly be, demonstrations, again, trying to capitalize, as I was saying earlier, on this momentum that they feel exists right now. Because after President Trump made that declaration, no other country followed suit.
We go down to sports. The Connie Francis-coached Manchester Spurs remain the only unbeaten side in the Berger Elite Netball League competition. They completed the fourth round with victory against title holders St. Anne Orchards Saturday night at the Leela Robinson Courts.
Manchester Spurs are off to a commanding start in the Berger Elite Netball competition with 4 wins from 4 games played so far. Spurs secured a 37-32 win on Saturday night over defending champions St. Anne Orchids. They recovered after trailing 5-10 at the end of the first quarter and 14-20 at halftime. However, they surged midway the third quarter to eventually pull off victory. The reliable Anneke Griffiths scored 15 goals from 26 attempts for the Spurs. If there was any doubt about them being title contenders, their 21-goal margin of victory over the Kingston Hummingbirds on Thursday was enough evidence. Griffiths on Thursday had registered 38 goals from 46 attempts against the Hummingbirds. She was assisted by Nicole Dixon with 14 goals from 20 attempts. If the Spurs should remain in top form when the competition resumes in the new year, then they should definitely be a force to reckon with.
What we're focusing on is just to take it one game at a time. This is the second time we were behind, and we were behind for a little while, and to see that we can make changes, and each time we make a change, it's positive for the team. So I love the rotation, and I love the effort that the fact that the girls are trying to put it together.
Despite the title holder St. Anne Orchids suffering yet another defeat, they are now with 2 wins and 2 losses. The team is led by Sunshine Girl goal shooter Christina Harwood and the informed Rebecca Robinson. On Saturday, Harwood registered a game high of 19 goals.
We gave it up. I didn't think our opposition wasn't a real challenge to us. It's just that we refused to step up the pace of the game. We changed it with a tall shooter, and they refused to take the instructions today, and that cost us a game. And you know, I don't think that they did what they were supposed to do. And as a team, you have to be disciplined.
Former champions Kingston Hummingbirds returned to winning form to beat Clarendon Gators 50-34 in their game on Saturday. Sabrina Spence was in brilliant shooting form with 39 goals from 50 attempts for the Hummingbirds. The Hummingbirds now have 3 wins and 1 loss to close out the 4th round.
On Thursday we made a lot of mistakes. The team were a bit flat on Thursday. So what we did, we went back to the drawing board, look at what we did wrong. Myself and Coach Anderson, we had a meeting with the players and we talked about it, and we decided today we were going to fix it. You would have said we were missing one of our key players on Thursday. Asana Williams wasn't there. She came today, she performed well, and ends the game plan worked to perfection, and we come up victorious.
In the midweek fixture of matches, St. James Sharps clipped Clarendon Gators 48-47 in a nail-biting contest. Simone Forbes, with spectacular shooting on the day, made 31 goals from 36 attempts for the Sharps, who have won 2 matches from 3 games played. Meanwhile, 2015 champions Clarendon Gators are yet to register a win after 4 matches played. The competition will resume on January 9. Trishona McGowan, TVJ Sports.
Thanks, Trishona. And that wraps up the midday news. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the primetime news package. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.